August 13th, 1958, 11:43 p.m. RCA Studio B, Nashville, Tennessee. The lights are off. Everyone sent home hours ago. Everyone except Elvis. He sits alone in the recording booth, headphones on. His hands rest on the microphone. Not to sing, to speak. The tape machine spins in the darkness. Red light glowing, recording. What he's about to say has never been heard. Not by fans, not by historians, not by anyone. For 50 years, this recording will remain sealed, hidden in a vault, locked away, protected by lawyers, by family, by fear of what it reveals. Tonight, we discover what Elvis said, why he said it, and why the truth was buried for half a century. Quick thought. Have you ever wanted to tell someone you love them one last time, but waited too long? Drop a comment. What happens in the next 17 minutes will break your heart. Here is the story. RCA Studio B, the same studio where Elvis recorded dozens of hits, where his voice filled speakers across America, where he became a legend. But tonight, the studio is empty, dark, silent except for the hum of equipment. Elvis arrived at 11 p.m., alone. No band, no producer, no Memphis Mafia. He told them all to leave, said he needed the space, needed the silence. Nobody questioned him. They saw his face, red eyes, drawn features, the exhaustion of someone who hasn't slept in days. The studio engineer Glenn Thompson tried to stay. Elvis shook his head. I need to do this alone, Glenn. Glenn Thompson hesitates. Boss, you sure? I can stay in the booth, keep it running for you. Elvis's voice drops. No. Just set it up. Show me how to work it. Then go home. Thompson sets up the Ampex 350 tape recorder. Professional grade, 7-inch reels. He shows Elvis the buttons. Red for record, black for stop, green for playback. Simple enough. Thompson lingers at the door. Whatever you need, boss. I'm a phone call away. Elvis nods. Thank you, Glenn. Now please, go. The door closes. Elvis is alone. He sits in the recording booth for 20 minutes, staring at the microphone, a Neumann U47, the same mic he's used for years. His voice has touched this metal hundreds of times. But tonight feels different. Tonight isn't about music. Tonight is about truth, about confession, about saying words he can't say to anyone else. He thinks about Fort Hood, Texas, where he's stationed, U.S. Army, Private First Class Elvis Presley, service number 533761. He got emergency leave 3 days ago, August 10th. The call came at dawn. Your mother is in the hospital. Baptist Memorial Hospital, Memphis, Tennessee. Hepatitis, liver failure, critical condition. Elvis flew home immediately. He's been at her bedside since, watching her fade, watching her struggle to breathe, watching the woman who gave him everything slowly die. Gladys Love Presley. Born April 25, 1912, 46 years old, too young, too soon. The doctors say she has days, maybe hours. Elvis knows. He can see it in her eyes. The goodbye that's coming. But there's something else. Something nobody knows. Something Elvis has never told anyone. And if he doesn't say it now, he never will. That's why he's here. That's why he's alone. That's why his hand shakes as he reaches for the record button. He presses it. Red light glows. The tape spins. Elvis leans close to the microphone, his voice barely a whisper. Mama, if you're listening to this someday, I need you to know something. Something I never had the courage to say to your face. He pauses, breathes, continues. I'm the reason you're sick. The words hang in the air. Silence. Just the sound of tape spinning. Then Elvis speaks again. I know what people think. They think it's hepatitis. They think it's your liver. They think it's just bad luck, bad health, bad timing. His voice cracks. But I know the truth. It's me. It's the stress of what I put you through. The fame, the pressure, the constant fear. Every time I leave, you think I won't come back. Every time I'm on that stage, you think something will happen. Every time my name is in the papers, you worry. And you can't stop. You can't rest. You can't sleep. Because you're my mother, and mothers don't stop worrying. But this worry, Mama, it's eating you alive. Literally. Elvis talks for 8 minutes straight. No pauses for effect. No performance. Just raw, unfiltered truth. He talks about the day he left for the Army. March 24th, 1958. Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. How he watched her cry at the train station. How she held on to him like she'd never see him again. How he promised he'd be fine. But he saw it in her eyes. The fear that consumed her. He talks about the letters she sends. 3, sometimes 4 a week. Pages and pages of worry. Are you eating enough? Are they treating you well? Are you safe? And Elvis writes back. Tells her he's fine. Tells her not to worry. But the letters keep coming. Because worry is what mothers do. And Gladys Presley worries more than most. The recording continues. Elvis's voice gets quieter, shakier, orchestrated narrative tension through strategic revelation and backstory layering. Vou continuar construindo os loops. Preciso. Manter tensão sem revelar tudo. Adicionar detalhes específicos sobre Gladys. Construir para a revelação do conteúdo completo. Manter sentenças curtas. Usar presente histórico. Adicionar mais backstory sobre a relação deles. Ainda não vou revelar porque foi selada por 50 anos. Isso é um loop que vai fechar mais tarde. Vou adicionar mais contexto sobre sua relação, a infância deles, a conexão profunda. He talks about something deeper, something he's never admitted. How Gladys isn't just his mother, she's his twin. Not literally, but in spirit, in soul. Let me explain what I mean, Mama. When you hurt, I hurt. When you're scared, I'm scared. When you can't breathe, I can't breathe. We've always been like this, since I was born. You felt it too, didn't you? That's why you held me tighter than other mothers. Why you never wanted me out of your sight. Why even now, at 23 years old, I still need you more than anything. He's right. The connection between Elvis and Gladys was extraordinary. Everyone who knew them saw it. Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, used to joke about it. Not with bitterness, with understanding. That boy and his mama, they got something I'll never understand. When Elvis was a child, Gladys invented a secret language. Words only they knew. Sooties meant I love you. Itty bitty meant little one. She called him that even when he grew to 6 feet tall. Even when he became famous. Even now in the hospital, barely conscious, she whispers it. Itty bitty, my itty bitty. Elvis talks about the house on Audubon Drive. Memphis, the first house he bought with his music money. He gave it to her, said, Mama, this is yours. Finally, something worthy of you. She cried for an hour, not tears of joy, tears of fear, because the house was big, and fame was bigger, and she knew somehow it would all end badly. Mothers know things. Gladys knew. She told Vernon once in private, this fame is going to kill one of us. I hope it's me and not him. Vernon dismissed it, said she was being dramatic. But here we are, August 13th, 1958. Gladys in the hospital, dying. The tape recorder keeps spinning. Elvis keeps talking. Now he's confessing something else. Something about the Army. I didn't want to go, Mama. You know that. But I had to. Because if I didn't, they'd say I was a coward. They'd say I thought I was special. They'd say I wasn't a real American. And that would have destroyed everything we built. But God, Mama, leaving you was the hardest thing I ever did. Harder than any performance. Harder than any recording session. Harder than anything. He pauses, breathes deep. Because I knew. I knew you wouldn't survive without me there. Not because you're weak. You're the strongest person I know. But because we're connected. And when I left, I took part of you with me. This is the part of the recording that matters most. The part that 50 years later will be released to the public. The part that will make people weep, because Elvis says something nobody expected, something that reframes his entire life. I made a choice, Mama. back in 1956, when Colonel Parker offered me the world, when the contracts came, when the money started pouring in, I had a choice. Keep singing gospel in small churches, stay home with you, live a quiet life, or take the deal. Become famous, give you everything you never had. I chose fame for you, not for me, for you, because you deserved a house. You deserved comfort. You deserved to never worry about money again. But in trying to save you, I killed you. Silence. The tape spins. Elvis's breathing is ragged. He's crying now, not sobbing, not dramatic, just tears falling, quiet, steady. I would trade it all, Mama, every record, every concert, every dollar, every scream from every fan. I'd give it all back, if it meant you'd be okay, if it meant you'd live. The recording goes on for another 12 minutes, but the core message is done. The confession is complete. Elvis talks about smaller things, memories, moments they shared. The time she cooked him a birthday meal when they had no money. The time she defended him against neighborhood bullies. The time she told him at age 11 that he had a gift, that his voice was special, that God gave it to him for a reason. He talks about how he wants to honor her, how he'll keep singing, keep trying to make her proud. Even when she's gone, orchestrated narrative closure around sealed recordings discovery and emotional aftermath. Agora preciso começar a fechar alguns loops e adicionar a parte sobre por que foi selada, quem a descobriu e o que aconteceu depois. Vou adicionar. Por que Elvis selou a gravação? Quem a descobriu em 2008? Por que levou 50 anos para ser revelada? O impacto que teve quando foi descoberta. A conexão com a morte de Gladys no dia seguinte. Ainda mantendo sentenças curtas, presente histórico, e construindo para o clímax emocional. Finally, Elvis says, I'm making this recording tonight, August 13th, 1958, at 11:43 p.m., because tomorrow I go back to the hospital, and I don't think you'll last much longer, and I need to say this somewhere. I need it to exist, even if nobody ever hears it, even if it stays locked away forever. I need the universe to know that I loved you, that I'm sorry, that if I could go back and choose differently, I would. He pauses one last time. Good night, Mama. I'll see you in the morning. I love you. Sooties. Click. The recording stops. Red light goes dark. Elvis sits in silence. The studio clock reads 12:17 a.m. August 14th, 1958. He packs the tape into a metal canister, labels it in black marker. Personal, do not open. He takes it with him. 6 hours later, Elvis returns to Baptist Memorial Hospital, room 327. Gladys is unconscious, her breathing shallow. Vernon is there, Elvis's grandmother, Minnie Mae Presley, a few close family members. Nobody speaks. At 3:15 a.m., Gladys Love Presley takes her last breath. Elvis holds her hand, whispers something nobody else hears. Later, Vernon will ask him what he said. Elvis won't answer, just shakes his head, walks out of the room. The funeral is 3 days later, August 17th, 1958. Forest Hill Cemetery, Memphis, Tennessee. Thousands attend, fans, press, strangers who never met her but feel connected through Elvis. Elvis is inconsolable. He throws himself on the coffin, screams, "She's all I had. She's all I ever had." His friends pull him back, try to calm him, but there's no calming this grief. This is the loss that will haunt Elvis for the rest of his life, the loss he'll never recover from. After the funeral, Elvis returns to Fort Hood. He has to. Army regulations. He finishes his service, gets honorably discharged in 1960, but he's different. Everyone notices. The boy who left for the Army was full of life. The man who returns is hollow, haunted. One member of the Memphis Mafia, Red West, later said, Elvis died in 1977, but part of him died in 1958. The day Gladys passed, he was never the same, and the recording, the tape Elvis made that night, it goes into a safe at Graceland, in Elvis's private office. Nobody knows it exists, not even Vernon. Elvis never mentions it, never listens to it again. It sits there, untouched, for years. August 16th, 1977. Elvis Presley dies. Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee, 19 years after his mother. Same month, same city, almost the same date. When they find him, there's a photo of Gladys in his hand. He died thinking of her, missing her, still grieving. The recording remains in the safe, now forgotten. Buried under legal documents, contracts, memorabilia, sealed away in the estate's vaults. The lawyers don't know what's on it. The family doesn't remember it exists. It becomes a ghost. A secret even the secret keepers forgot. Fast forward to 2008, 30 years after Elvis's death, 50 years after Gladys's death. Graceland is now a museum, millions of tourists every year, exhibits, tours, gift shops. The estate is managed by Elvis Presley Enterprises, operated by professionals, preserved with care. That year, they decide to digitize the archives. Everything, photos, letters, contracts, audio recordings, a massive project led by a man named Jack Soden, CEO of Elvis Presley Enterprises. He hires a team of archivists, specialists in preservation, audio engineers. Their job, catalog every item, convert analog to digital, ensure nothing is lost to time. On September 22, 2008, an archivist named Sarah Morrison finds something. She's sorting through boxes of reel-to-reel tapes. Most are labeled: studio sessions, outtakes, rehearsals. But one tape is different. The metal canister is unmarked, except for 3 words in faded black marker. Personal, do not open. Sarah hesitates. Her supervisor, David Chen, walks over. What do you have? Sarah shows him the canister. David reads the label. They exchange glances. We need to listen to it, David says. Sarah nods. But first, we need permission. They contact Jack Soden. Explain what they found. Soden is cautious. Protective of Elvis's legacy, protective of the family's privacy. He asks them to set up a private listening session. Just the 3 of them. No one else. They gather in a small room at Graceland. The tape is threaded into a Studer A80 machine, professional playback equipment. Soden sits in the center. Sarah and David flank him. The tape begins. At first, there's silence, hiss and crackle, then Elvis's voice. Quiet, intimate, broken. Mama, if you're listening to this someday. The 3 of them listen in complete silence for the full 20 minutes. When it ends, nobody speaks. Sarah has tears on her face. David stares at the floor. Soden sits perfectly still. Finally, he says, "This can't be released. Not yet. Not now. Why? Because the tape is too raw, too personal, too painful. Elvis clearly made it for private purposes, not for public consumption. He never intended anyone to hear it, and Soden respects that. He also considers the family. Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's daughter, Priscilla Presley, Elvis's ex-wife. How would they react? Would it hurt them? Would it help them? Soden doesn't know. So he makes a decision. Seal the tape again, lock it away, mark it as restricted, only to be opened with family approval, or after a certain amount of time has passed. 50 years from Gladys's death, 50 years exactly. It feels symbolic, appropriate, but not ready, not yet. Quick thought, have you ever discovered something about someone you love that changed how you saw their entire life? Drop a comment. The tape goes back into the vault. But now people know it exists. Rumors start. Whispers in Elvis fan communities, online forums. Someone at Graceland found a secret recording. Elvis talking to his dead mother. Is it real? What does it say? Theories multiply. Some people claim it's a hoax. Others say it's too sacred to ever be released. The estate stays silent. No confirmation. No denial. Just silence. Years pass. The tape remains sealed. But pressure builds. Historians argue it's part of Elvis's story, part of understanding who he was. Fans argue they deserve to know the man, not just the myth. The family is divided. Lisa Marie doesn't want it released. She says, "That was between my father and my grandmother. It's not for us." Priscilla is more open. She says, Elvis was a man who loved deeply. If this tape shows that, maybe it should be heard. The debate continues. Inside the family, inside the estate, nobody can agree. Then, in 2018, something changes. Lisa Marie gives an interview. She's asked about the tape. For the first time, she acknowledges it exists. Yes, I've heard it, she says. It broke my heart. My father was the most loving, tormented soul. He carried guilt he should never have carried. The interviewer asks, should people hear it? Lisa Marie pauses. Long silence. Finally, maybe, someday, when enough time has passed, when people can understand it's not about fame or tragedy, it's about love, and love deserves to be honored. That interview changes everything. The estate reconsiders. They consult grief counselors, psychologists who specialize in bereavement, historians who study celebrity and legacy. The consensus, the tape should be released. With context, with care, with respect, but it should be released. Because hiding pain doesn't honor it. Sharing it does. On August 14, 2018, 60 years after Gladys's death, the tape is made public. It's released on the official Elvis Presley website. Free to listen. No paywall, no commercialization, just the raw recording. 20 minutes of Elvis Presley talking to his mother. The response is overwhelming. Within 24 hours, 10 million people listen. Within a week, 50 million. News outlets around the world cover it. The New York Times runs a front-page story. Elvis's confession, a son's love, a son's guilt. The Guardian writes, in 20 minutes, Elvis Presley reveals more about himself than in 20 years of interviews. Rolling Stone calls it the most intimate recording in rock and roll history. But more importantly, regular people respond. Comments flood in. Thousands of messages. People sharing their own stories of loss, of guilt, of loving someone so much it hurts. A woman from Texas writes, I lost my mother in 2015. I felt the same guilt Elvis felt, like I didn't do enough, like I was the reason she got sick. Hearing Elvis say the same things I thought, it helped. It made me feel less alone. A man from England writes, I never understood Elvis. I thought he was just a celebrity. But hearing this, he was just a son who loved his mom. That's something I understand. A teenager from Brazil writes, I'm 17. My mom is sick. I'm scared. Hearing Elvis talk about his fear, it makes me realize it's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel this much. The tape becomes more than a historical artifact. It becomes a mirror, a way for people to process their own grief, their own love, their own humanity. Lisa Marie releases a statement. She says, my father would be mortified that so many people heard him at his most vulnerable. But I think maybe he'd also be proud, because his pain is helping others. And that's all he ever wanted, to connect, to help, to love. Priscilla adds, Elvis gave so much to the world through his music, but this recording? This is the greatest gift, because it shows that even the most famous person in the world was just human, just a son, just someone who loved and hurt like the rest of us. The tape changes Elvis's legacy. Before, he was seen as larger than life, the king, untouchable. After, he's seen as something else, human, flawed, real. And that makes people love him more, not less. Because we don't need heroes to be perfect, we need them to be honest. And Elvis in that recording was brutally honest. Today, the original tape is kept at Graceland, in a climate-controlled vault. It's no longer hidden. It's preserved, cared for, treated as what it is, a sacred artifact, a window into a soul. Every year, on August 14th, fans gather at Graceland. They hold a vigil. Not just for Elvis, not just for Gladys, but for everyone who's ever loved someone and lost them. For everyone who's ever felt guilt they didn't deserve. For everyone who's ever wished they could say one more thing. The vigil is quiet, respectful. People light candles, share stories. And sometimes They play the recording, not loudly, just softly in the background. A reminder that love doesn't end with death. It just changes form. August 13th, 1958, 52 years ago tonight. Elvis Presley sat alone in a recording studio. He pressed record. He spoke from his heart. He confessed his love, his guilt, his humanity. He sealed the tape. He never expected anyone to hear it, but we did, and we're better for it. Because the recording reminds us, fame doesn't protect you from pain, money doesn't buy you peace, success doesn't cure grief, but love, even broken love, even guilty love, even desperate love. Love matters. Love is enough. Elvis died 19 years after his mother. He never stopped missing her, never stopped blaming himself, never stopped wishing he could go back. But in the end, the recording proved something. He loved her more than anything, and she knew. Even if he never said it to her face, even if she never heard the tape, she knew. Because love that deep doesn't need words. It exists in actions, in sacrifices, in the way Elvis worked himself to exhaustion to give her a better life, in the way he held her hand as she died, in the way he carried her memory for the rest of his days. Gladys knew. And that's what matters. The recording has been played over 100 million times since its release. It's been translated into 47 languages. It's been studied by psychologists, musicians, historians. It's been referenced in documentaries, books, podcasts. But more than anything, it's been heard by sons and daughters around the world. People who recognize themselves in Elvis's voice. People who carry the same guilt, the same love, the same human weight of being someone's child. And for them, the recording is more than history. It's healing. If you take one thing from this story, let it be this. Tell the people you love that you love them. Not someday, not later, now. Because Elvis Presley, the most famous man in the world, ran out of time. And he spent the rest of his life wishing he'd said more, done more, been more. Don't make the same mistake. Say it now, while you still can. If this story moved you, consider subscribing to our channel. We share these hidden Elvis stories because we believe they matter, not the myth, the man. And the man was beautiful, flawed, human, real. Leave a comment about someone you love, someone you wish you'd told more often. Honor them here. Honor the love that Elvis and Gladys shared, the love that never dies. And unfortunately, they don't make men like Elvis Presley anymore. Sleep well.